Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 17, getting ready to jump into our weekly Prime Glory Gauntlet, and we're playing the same lineup from the past week. We're going to be playing with the Suppressor Scouts, the Akshan Sivir, and the Taliyah Ziggs. And so, if you're new to the channel and not familiar with what we've been doing over the past couple of weeks, kind of the big idea with this set of archetypes is, if you take a look at the play rate that you see on ladder, Darkness is the most common deck, followed by Yuumi Pantheon. And then the thing with Yuumi Pantheon is that it is a go tall deck, right? Where you're trying to focus heavily on making one really superpowered unit, and there's just no other decks in the format that do that. And so you have been seeing like some kind of like Zoe Lee Sin creep into the meta, but all in all, there's not a whole lot of reason to be jamming a bunch of, say, like mini morphs and vengeances into your deck because Yuumi Pantheon is the only go tall deck around. So we just look to ban Pantheon. We just assume that we're just not going to deal with it, and then we're looking to play an archetype list that takes advantage of the darkness deck. And so if you're able to see well enough under the matchup table, the darkness deck is the first column, and we're actually bringing two of the three decks here. We're bringing Akshan Sivir, that's this 57% win rater, and Scout, which is a 60% win rater. The third deck we'll be bringing is the Taliyah Ziggs deck, which it's not making the list here, but it's another positive matchup in the same light. And so with that being kind of like step one of our strategy, step two is that we kind of assume the other mid-rangey and control-y style decks are decent enough matchups to where we don't have to focus on them too much, and then we look to focus more on the more aggressive side of things. And so we tune our decks to be a little bit stronger against the likes of, say, Lurkers and Nar Ziggs, the Mono Elisas, those really aggressive decks. And so the place that kind of worries me now, and as we enter this week, across the past week or so, we've really kind of seen a big push in the likes of Ezreal Caitlyn, and we've also seen a big push towards the Lulu Fizz, and we made videos on both of those archetypes across the past couple of days, and the matchups aren't spectacular. They aren't like horrible matchups for either of the decks we're playing, but they aren't good by any means. And so we've tuned our decks a little bit again to battle Ezreal Caitlyn and Lulu Fizz a little bit more. We aren't seeing a ton of the burn-based Noxus decks and the Gangplanks of the world. And so looking to focus on a little bit more on these two new matchups. I think they're fairly popular, at least pushing up on here. It looks like Ezreal Caitlyn is probably the fifth most popular deck on the ladder. Lulu Fizz is up there around number 8. I expect Lulu Fizz to both continue to push up as well. That's what we pushed ourselves into Masters with this season. But to swing ourselves back to the decks, if you're not familiar, we do play the Stony Suppressor flavor of Scouts. Haven't seen too much of it. I'm not aware of anyone else that's really giving it a serious go. But I love it. I think it's great. It's fantastic against Darkness. It's fantastic against Ezreal Caitlyn. Those are archetypes that the Darkness deck typically, tries to ban Scouts, but things like Ezreal Caitlyn tend to let it sit around, and the Suppressor is a big problem for those style of decks, while not being horrible against aggro as well. If your opponent's coming at you with like a bunch of inventive chemists and 2/1s, it is completely reasonable to get a 2-for-1 out of your Stony Suppressor. And the differences that you would see from our deck in the previous week, I have taken the Mirai Wardens out of the deck to put in the third Stony Suppressor and the third Island Navigator, as we aren't playing against as many of those really low to the ground early game aggressive decks. I took the Wardens out, right? That was a card that you kind of play in the same vein as a whatever the spider is that generates an extra unit, lets you potentially get a 2-for-1 on an early game play. I don't think we're going to run into too many of that. And I'm also trying to minimize the number of 1 health units in our deck, because we have to come out and face a bunch of flashbang traps and electrostatic shocks and poison darts out of things like Swain Nar. Just trying to minimize the 1 health a little bit. And the Mirai Warden oftentimes gave us 2 1 health units. And so otherwise, exactly the same, just the Mirai Wardens out of the deck. As far as Akshan Sivir goes, a little bit of the same. I the kind of non-standard things you see in our list here is I am still playing the one Radiant Guardian. I think she is good enough against Ezreal Caitlyn to still warrant the space. I'm not opposed to actually adding in the second one, but this like top end space here is where it gets kind of awkward with Akshan Sivir, right? If we're just looking to say beat up on the Ezreal decks, then we'd want to be playing like Radiant Guardians and Ruin Runners. But I still worry a little bit more about the just unit-based attacking at you mid-range decks, and so that's why we're still holding on to the Vicar and Bruiser. But otherwise, the changes from the previous week, I took out one Fleet Feather Tracker, again, to kind of lighten up the burden on our 1 health units, went up to the 3rd Vicar and Vagabond, just another meaty unit that survives well in the face of 1 damage pings. And then the last one here, we're playing our Taliyah Ziggs. A couple of changes in this one as well. I took out the 1 Magus of the Ascendant. I've just never really pleased with it. We tend to get enough overwhelm out of the Absolver to not need that weirdo running around. And I took out 1 Unleashed Energy. It kind of, weakens our explosive abilities. It's a lot tougher to get these turns to where you open with an Unleashed Energy and an Absolver, and then you like overwhelm your opponent for like 14 damage. But I think that we're going to be running into a lot more removal this week, as I'm looking to do some battle with the Ancient Hourglasses. And so that's it. That's what we're bringing. And, we got to go in and turn something premium real quick. And so I was going through the list as we live our pay-to-win life out here, just looking for commons and rares so I didn't have to upgrade an epic or a champion. And it's close. In the Scouts deck, we have Cythria and then the 2 champions. Our Akshan Sivir deck is 100% premium, and Taliyah Ziggs was the only place here that had rares actually left in it. And so we're going with the Desert Naturalist today. She does get to turn the landmark into the premium Rock Bear, which makes her kind of a double premium unit. Well worth it. Well worth it. And so let's go ahead and jump on in. All right. Off we go. And, oh my God, what do we do? Oh, it's just... I don't know. I don't know why the favorites got to be so spread out. I thought they were all going to be right up on top. But the team has been selected. Let's jump on here, see if we can't get that 4th Prime Glory. I don't even know what it does. I think it gives you buys in seasonals or seasonal pre-tournaments or something, but couldn't tell you. Okay, so what are we up against here? I figured out from the last one that this no champion Freylord PNZ deck is the Poros deck. I'm not amped about playing against it. I think whatever this Fiora Sivir type deck is probably okay. And then we should probably be fine against this mid-rangey style Swain Leona deck. Again, I'm not like super sure what's coming out of that. It's probably very like stun centric or something, or at least that's the way I would kind of like piece it together coming out of Expeditions. But I must say I'm not familiar with Swain Leona, and so we'll ban out the Poros and roll the dice against these other 2. And I do like to just start out with Scouts. I think these should probably be positive matchups across the board, but well. I guess the one that would be the downside is if we're trying to have like the big overwhelm stuff happening with Taliyah, that it's kind of awkward to have to run into like the 5 health, the 5 health Swain, or the 5 health Leona and 6 health Swain, however that lines up. But I think this should be okay. Give us this whatever his Sivir Fiora deck is kind of tracked. That looks like he's played this one in the past. I'm not seeing the Swain thing on his ladder listing though. Alright. Is what it is. We'll pull up the Sivir deck next round. Okay, always awkward spot here. I think I want to save the Bright Steel. It's not going to do too much here, and then like the Duran Sculptor never gets to attack. Like I just think it's too easy for them to play something weird like the 3/6 that costs 2 mana that shuts down everything. So I'm just going to open with the Fleet Feather, play the Sculptor this turn, look to move on with say Misfortune on turn 3 and a Protector on turn 4. It might get mixed up a little bit, but general game plan wise, it's a pretty powerful curve. Bright Stills is kind of nice here, especially when you end up in these spaces where you kind of like want to block with Misfortune. This is fine. We're pretty okay to just take 3 damage from this thing. I guess there is a world where he doesn't attack with it, but he shouldn't be able to interact with our Misfortune here. Right, ideally we would just pass. If we're just planning on taking this 3 damage, let the damage come in and then play the Misfortune after the fact. So if he has some kind of interactivity, we get to play around it, but blood for blood. Interesting. It's one way to get all the daybreaks. Stuns the Misfortune, so is she gonna have to worry about a... we could technically play around a Ravenous Flock if we want to just go ahead and drop the Brightsteel Protector now. Which I'm not opposed to. Because, like, right, the question here is, like, why would he ever just stun Misfortune? Misfortune probably doesn't want to attack too frequently. Has to be because of the incoming nature of a Ravenous Flock. I think this is fine, and then we can still attack with our Bright Steels. Or I guess if we want, like, the flip side of this equation is we do have a second Misfortune in our hand, and we can just follow up with a second one if he manages to kill off the first one. I kind of like being aggressive, but I think I'm just going to stop here. Let's do this. I want to steal his sentry, or attack his sentry, though. He already has the copy of the Shield Bearer in hand. If he wants to do more of this copy and stuff, then we'll, it might limit his options here. We nailed it. We deduced what was happening to us. And that's fine. Not a big problem. We're getting ahead on board. That's all that really matters. So do we ever live in a world where we want to play a 4 Demacia next turn? It's not absurd to think. Like, I want to get the Sergeant down now since we can block the Shield Bearer. But going into next turn, if we want to, say, play a Bright Steel this turn, the next turn we can still do a 4 Demacia. Or if we want, I think what I'm leaning towards is we'll just bank the 1, add in a Misfortune, and then 4 Demacia. We can cycle around to a second 4 Demacia on our next attack token. Does the Bright Steel change anything? I don't think so. If we'd picked up a 1-drop, it might have been kind of interesting, but not quite where we're at. Do we still feel the same way now that we can't attack with Misfortune and we lose out on a unit? He's given up his Daybreak, right? The thing that I thought was going to be kind of awkward here was if he led with the Shield Bearer and had the 6-attack unit that comes in and shuts down our smaller plays. I think I still like this for Demacia. Even if he has like a Ravenous Flock and kills off the Misfortune, it's okay. This isn't really feeling like a deck where we get tons of value out of the ping. Right? Everything in here seems to be pretty meaty. And see, now his Daybreak has been given up, so this unit, his unit doesn't get to block one of our 5 attackers and survive. He can still block it, sure, but can't survive it. Right, now we got all these sweet dudes in hand. We can continue the cycle if we want to play the Vanguard Sergeant on our opponent's turn. Bring it back around with the second 4 Demacia. Whirling Death. Okay. This feels fantastic. So at the end of the day, we're going to have 3 units on board to his 0. We're looking to add. I mean, we can just spew all 3 of our units onto the board next turn if we want, and then be ready with the For Demacia. Are we gonna boom them with the Stony Suppressor? This doesn't seem like the space where we really get to boom them, but I think I'm okay to play it. I'm not sure why just passing. I don't understand what would be in their hand to make that be a thing. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna lead with the For Demacia. I don't like. I don't know. I don't know what weird shit he could do, but it would have to involve like a reckoning to make this like pretty painful. But let's just not deal with that. As a Leona stun, okay. So if we attack with everybody, and then we hook Leona, we're at 16. Right, the stun is going to hit our 6-7. Oh, we got to hit the OK button. My bad game. The problem would be if he has like a stun for the middle of combat, which I'm not really amped about. So let's add in the Bright Steel. See if we can't get in another point of damage. This does give him the opportunity to add another unit, right? So he gets to play a unit that would potentially prevent some more damage, but I think as long as we're... I don't understand that. I think we're still okay like this. Death Lotus. Okay. Alright, I think we've done it. We did it. Okay, so we just got to beat one of these decks with the Taliyah Ziggs. That deck, it seems like that should be a reasonable matchup for Taliyah Ziggs. I haven't pulled up the Misfortune deck, the Fiora deck, but I think against Taliyah Ziggs, or at least against that mid-rangey kind of thing, it gives us plenty of time to assemble like high-value Taliyahs and to assemble the Absolver combo with them. I think it's fine. Game just break. All right, he's bringing the Sivir Fiora deck this time. Let's see. It looks to just be kind of a standard-ish Fiora deck. It's got the standalones in it. It has some amount of, what is this? Rite of the Arcane? That's kind of odd to me. Judgment lives in here. Okay. I think this is fine. I like to hang on to the Unraveled Earth here. It gives us ways to potentially give us Fiora vulnerable. Like, I'm not really amped about forcing combats with Fiora, but it seems reasonable here if we get to kind of pick and choose where we do it. With this, I'm just going to pick up the Taliyah. Our hand is like fairly awkward here, and I want to make sure we pick up the power with her, especially given that we have this draw to where we have like 1, 2, second landmark here, right? We can get 3, 4 next turn with the Unraveled Earth, and then the Ancient Preparations can get us right up to 5. Probably prefer to copy something along the way, but she can flip really quick. Okay. I think are we still into this like Unraveled Earth? I think it seems okay. We're not gonna interact with this Vanguard Sergeant anytime soon. Ooh, and that's a good draw on the Naturalist. Premium Naturalist, ready to do premium stuff. No blocks. Ancient Hourglasses are a fairly good idea against Fiora, right? If we are able to dodge some of her combats, so if he gets like a Fiora hook with a riposte, and then we get to Ancient Hourglass out of the combat, that's not a bad deal. Let's see what he wants to do here. I'm kind of leaning towards hooking the Vanguard Sergeant with our 2-4. right? It's like the deck plays so many combat tricks, and he's had 3 mana banked for so long. It's like I feel like there's a pretty decent chance that he's going to have a trick to win, and if he's going to have a trick to win, I want him to kill off just the 2-power unit. But now that he's like preemptively stood alone, let's just get our attack in, but then hook with the smallest one. We're just gonna have to throw away a unit every turn, which is fine. It's not awesome, but it's not terrible. And then the thing you might see here, if you've like not familiar with this deck, but you are familiar with our videos, we've done a little bit of work with Taliyah Ziggs, but not so much with the Ancient Hourglass. And it is something that you can copy with Taliyah. And so I was kind of eyeballing our 5/4 that was hanging out on the board. We can copy our 5/4 with the Hourglass, copy the Hourglass with Taliyah, and use that as a reasonable way to get a bigger boy on board. Because this board is a little awkward. Dude just drew a champion though. Silverwing Diver. Haven't seen you in literal years. Let's see. Endless Devout is good. Like, we need something to do with our Taliyah, and this is like the best thing we can do. It is like a little bit slow though. And we have to get it in combat. But I think it'll be an okay draw. Sure. Do we want to go ahead and attack it like the Silverwing Diver? I'm not amped about this. Let's just bank the 3. I'm ready for this. Let's just get Taliyah going. I think I'm still happy with the Endless Devout. Like, I didn't fully intend on just dropping Taliyah, but I think at the end of the day, this is probably where we want to be. It's too tough for us to like guarantee the Devout's going to die. Like, that's a absolute disaster if we spend the 3 mana this turn playing the Devout attack and he just doesn't kill it. Where this is fine. Gets us some dudes with the Taliyah. He's gonna have to definitely has to come out and answer her. Okay, then the stupid Taliyah ability isn't fantastic on the Diver, but it does at least kill it. Right, the tough absorbs a bunch of the strikes, so she doesn't get to actually deal any damage here. And do we want to just go ahead and Rite of the Arcane, the Badger Bear? We lose out on one of our 2/2s, but I think this is fine. Destroy landmark, destroy it. Non-zero chance that they have like a sharp sight or something here, but I think that's fair. All right, ready to get the arsenal going. Dude knows what's up. He knows how to have fun. The arsenal certainly knows how to have fun.
You're covered. For the honor of House Longa.
I mean, it just doesn't feel like this is worth an Hourglass. It would get like an additional tick up on our arsenal, but I think he's just going to be enough to win the game on his own. What do you got? Quick Attack, Faded, Fearsome, Challenger, Augment, Overwhelm. Not a bad collection. Okay.
Yeah, why not? So we're falling rocks.
Oh, I haven't seen Unyielding Spirit in a long time. It's weird seeing the gray stony thing over top of her health. Huh. Alright, game says negate. I think we got ourselves a victory. GG. Round 1 in the books.
What a great day.
Okay. Off to the next one. So yeah, this will be interesting. I'm curious. This is actually the week that the new patch comes out. Or here upcoming, like the notes will come out on Tuesday. The patch will come out on Wednesday. But the guy at Riot said that there are changes incoming on 33 cards, which is massive. Like that's almost like an expansion all in itself. Whenever that amount of card changes come along, so I'm curious to see what all we'll be interacting with. But here, this Freylord Elise should be Iceborne Spiders. That's fine. Vigio Karma, I assume, is some kind of combo-y control deck. And then there is what looks to be some kind of like quick attack aggro deck with Zed and Jinx. These don't really look to be like our kind of standard fare ladder decks. I think out of all of these, probably the Vigio Karma deck is somewhat manageable. I'm trying to think of how bad that could actually be. My worry with like Iceborne Spiders is we don't have the interactivity that's good against that, right? They're looking to play the Iceborne Legacy and we can't respond to it, and so we're looking to just like get units taken down with challengers, and so I think I'm just going to ban out this Elise and then roll the dice with the other two. Then in terms of what he's got on board here, it's so weird. Everybody's letting us play Scouts today. I think I want to just start with Scouts. It's like I kind of want to run Taliyah Ziggs into the Vigio deck, but we don't get to pick and choose. But it seems like Scouts is the kind of deck to where if people will expect to be able to pick on it. We'll see. We'll see what we're up against here. I ultimately just worry about this being the style of deck that's able to be like herder. Here's all my like whirling whales, all of my withering whales and cards like that. Kind of problematic. All of the you can make these Shadow Isles decks that are just like big piles of drains and AoE removals, and that's kind of problematic for us. Did draw our boy Stony Suppressor, though. Those style of decks aren't going to be expecting the Suppressor. Broadwing, though? Do we even go for it? Vigio Karma. It's like, I have in my head the Vigio and Kindred deck that just plays Ionia for like Twin Disciplines and Deny. I don't think that's going to be the kind of style of thing we're running into here. Maybe we do just keep up the aggression with the Broadwing. But it's like we have such a big draw here in terms of dropping the Suppressor now, then doing the Suppressor into Misfortune into Island Navigator. It's really high powered if they're going to be trying to drop spells on us. Let's see if we just boomed him here. All right, do we need to pivot away from Misfortune this turn? I think we probably do. This is starting to look like a fairly scary board. I don't want to just get domed for 1,000,000. And so let's go ahead and drop the Bright Steel. Get ourselves some blockers out here. And then maybe we can get a better looking attack next turn once Misfortune is active. Okay. I don't think we're going to worry about the banner here. It's not super likely to turn up. Now, the downside to taking this style of approach is we can't get Misfortune and Island Navigator on the board at the same time. But we did just draw a second Suppressor. I think we lean on this to say, like, play Misfortune next turn and look to just level her up. This is a quite good board for us. All right, 3-mana Rangers resolves. That's definitely worth, right? Definitely worth.
Fortune favors the bold.
The ocean is no place for the weak.
All right. Well, I was expecting attack for like an attack last turn so we could clear out a unit. I was just gonna block whatever so something would die. But now that we're moving forward here, it was a little strange to have to get an overwrite.
You matter so little. Turn me to the sea.
All right. The hook onto Vigio is fairly safe now as well. We ever attack with a Duran Sculptor here? I mean, it would be able to take down Misfortune, or take down Karma. The thing here is he can play Twin Disciplines this turn, right? He's got 4 mana with the +2. He can play a Twin Disciplines and protect his Vigio. The thing that it feels positive to me about this turn is even if a unit dies and he gets the bonus, we still take him down with this Misfortune attack.
Where's my hammer?
Maybe this is too, like,
Has its cost.
kind of feel like we're leaving a lot of damage on the table here. Like opponents at 10, they're going to fall to 8 off of this. Like he could have blocked Misfortune with the Karma, and we would have gotten in an extra 4 damage by trading out the suppressors. It's an odd spot, but just like a lot that can go wrong there.
Submission or death for all who leave. Oppose me and die.
Okay. Vigio number 2 doing his thing. So now, do we open? I don't like an open. Does this change it? 1, 2, 3, 4? No, we're too short. This is some pretty scary draws that we just got. We didn't really draw any of our action here. But he didn't interact with Misfortune. So let's assume he doesn't... Well, if he plays a card, there's just not a ton that he could actually play. We're good to just hit with everyone now.
Time for violence.
We get 3 from the Misfortune, and then 3 from our small, or 2 from our small units we can kill with the Make It Rain.
That's Captain Fortune.
I think it's okay.
You cannot stop me.
So this just takes him to 1. So, I mean, I think we're going for the Make It Rain. But, alright, game says we hit. Good job, us. That should hit for 2 damage, right? Since it'll hit for 1 on the Vigio. So that would have actually been 100% kill Make It Rain. Alright. Got through that one. So that was pretty much, very much like the Kindred deck. It just didn't have Kindred in it. I had Karma in it. I'm curious if they play something that she's interested in. Like, I'm trying to think of like it wouldn't be like the Harrowing, but I'm curious as to what spell that they would be trying to double up with the Karma. If that's even their game plan. She might just be here as a value unit or as one of these units that gets, you know, if you get to double up a Grasp of the Undying or something. But those don't seem like the cards that the Vigio decks usually play. I don't know. I'm a little boozled by what's happening with that one. But our opener was not good. Just a bunch of Garbos in it. We got a much better mulligan here.
Is that a challenge? I am wearing my goggles.
Get in there, inventive chemist. No. No little spiderlings for you. No vile feast today. Okay. Well, 100% trade our Endless Devout for his 3/3. We got this big curve now from the Naturalist into our 3/3, if that's what he's going to let us do. Or the Naturalist into the Sarcophagus. Such premium coming right at you.
Today
So what's this one going to be? A 2-2? All right. We'll leave the chemist at home. I mean, we're getting to the point where our board's going to be completely full. Do we want to just punch in the extra damage? Probably not. It's probably like a little greedy this turn. On our next turn, I think we'd probably just have to slam with everything. Oh, shit. I didn't... Oh. I guess either way it's fine. Like, if... Death mark. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, he didn't get to finish the board with any units down. So I think that's okay. It was a little awkward for us, just the way that played out, though. Do you want to go back into the Endless Devout? I don't think we're going to get to play it before he attacks, but it seems better than these other options. This would be the kind of space to where we might get a big Unleashed Energy hit, but it feels like we're going to be like a little bit short of a kill.
What does that thing do?
It explodes, of course. Go ahead, light the fuse.
Patrol 1, patrol
Sure.
2, patrol 3.
Don't think I'm worried about that one. We'll just take this. Do we want to get one of these units off the board? What are we realistically doing next turn? I think we can punch for like 1,000,000 damage next turn. I think we want to go ahead and kill these things. So let's do this. Let's destroy a landmark, blow up his big one. Right now the idea is that we'll play the Hexplosive Minefield. It's going to stun his Greenglade Lookout. We'll follow up with the Naturalist. That'll stun whatever his next unit is. And so if his next play is, say, like Vigio, then he's just going to have a super stunned board and probably not be lethal, but we're getting real close to it. Fading Icon was not the ideal play from opponent, but I think that's still a pretty strong game plan.
I just can't wait. Here we go.
Right, he's just super aced if he goes up the curve here. Just give up on it. Cool. And so yeah, those were some interesting games, right? I run into a lot as to people that just kind of like dirtle on and go on and on about how like control decks are the most challenging things in the world because you have to make 1,000 decisions. And I think those two games really kind of display what I talk about in terms of decision weight, is what I call it, is to where I always take the comparison back to Magic. Like one of the last times I was playing a lot of really competitive Magic was when Sphinx's Revelation was in Standard. If you're not familiar with it, you just spend all your mana. You basically draw cards to however much mana you spent -3, and you gain that much life. So if you spend 6 mana, you draw 3 cards, gain 3 life, and then you usually wait like 3 or 4 turns, and you play one for 9, and you draw 6 cards and gain 6 life, and the game's just over at that point. And like the way a lot of those games would play, you do have to make like 1,000,000 decisions every game. But it's like the decisions don't really matter that much. Like it seemed like probably like 95% of the time you would look at the board and you would go, okay, this is the cheapest removal spell I can play. Let's play it this turn. And then you get yourself up to like turn 4 and you look at the board and say, this unit is not going to kill me this turn. I can wait 1 turn so I can play my Wrath of God card. And it's just like, yes, you're making like lots of decisions because you're deciding between playing your 4 and your 5 mana Wrath of God and your 2 and your 3 mana removal spell, or your 2 or your 3 mana counter spell. But at the end of the day, those decisions aren't that huge. Because if you mess it up a little bit, you're just going to make up for it by playing a huge Sphinx's Revelation. And so as long as you just say, okay, maybe I'm just going to make sure I trade 1 for 1 for every card my opponent plays, and then I'll just draw a shitload of cards 2 turns from now. You were, again, making a ton of decisions, but they weren't that important of decisions. And where it comes into the concept I call decision weight is like in these 2 games that we just played here, to where it was like, should I have attacked with that Inventive Chemist, right? It feels like we're leaving damage on the table. And those are actually gigantic decisions when it comes to playing aggro decks, and it's just so important that you don't miss a point of damage, especially as you start to move up and up in the ladder or up and up in the tournament or whatever. That just any time that you lose game with your opponent at like 1 or at 2, or when you hit them for exacties, you gotta like make a mental note of that, and it comes up quite frequently. And so if that game would have kind of lined itself up to where, say, they blocked and they were still at 2, then we just missed out on that attack earlier. That was a pretty big decision as to whether or not we just go face every turn, or holding the unit back and potentially getting a more valuable attack a turn later. And so I always feel like there's a lot of disrespect sent towards aggro decks, but it's like every decision that you make tends to have so much more importance than what you would see out of a lot of the control decks. But nonetheless, onto the action here. We just did reasonably well against the Kindred deck. I think we're okay against it. I'm not really sure what comes out of this Leona Yasuo, but I think it's probably fine. I think the matchups against these Taliyah Ziggs decks, if memory serves, this was a pretty harsh matchup for the majority of our lineup, and so I'm going to ban the Lysandra Taliyah out. Okay, everybody's letting us bring the scouts. I think I want to save Akshan Sivir for our second one. A little worrisome. I think we might have wanted these matchups to be flipped, but this is okay. Ooh, not a great start, though. We had a very expensive hand mulliganed into a very expensive hand. Got an elite for you? Sure do. Sithri is elite. All right, well, sometimes you start with bad ones and then draw perfect. That's another skill I like to call. We talked about decision weight a little bit. The other one I like to do is just draw perfect, and if you just draw the cards you need in the right order, then it doesn't matter. And so, go us. Good jobs. Okay, and then I do like to take these units down. This was a strategy we would use playing an expedition. It's not as big of a deal in constructed. There tends to be a lot of ways around this, but in expedition it was always really powerful because you could shut off a lot of their sacrifice abilities. All right, well, not a spectacular turn. I think we want to go ahead and still take the unit down. There's just not tons of good hooks we get with the Broadwing. You never get a value hook against this deck. You can use it to take down Kindred, but it's fairly weak here. That's expensive. Okay. I will trade my 2 mana for your 5. I guess he gets to gain a bit of health in the matter, but I think this is okay. And now we do have an actual decision here with this Tattered Banner. It's something that, if you're not familiar with how this interaction works, if you play the Tattered Banner and then the Island Navigator, the Navigator is not the one that gets the banner, right? If you're coming from a Magic background, you would expect the Island Navigator to hit the board and then his ability triggers and then puts the new unit on. That's not how it works. The summoned unit is the actual first one on board, and so if we play the banner, we're kind of rolling the dice with what gets hit here. And it's if we hit a 2-power unit, it's extremely good in the face of this soldier. But if we don't hit a 2-power unit like the Nimble Poro here, then it can be a bit of a disaster for us. but this looks reasonably okay. It's kind of awkward with the Vigio here, but let's save our good units. I'm just going to hit with the quick attacker. I was going to say he'll probably come in and block it, but it's not a good space to just be like throwing stats into Vigio, especially as we're really close to getting the misfortune to flip. So it's like if he plays a card and then we get to bury our misfortune, might just be a game winner. Like his hand probably just like full of expensive shit if his turn 5 play is Grasp of Darkness, but ooh, we might get it here. So we'll definitely get a misfortune flip this turn. Well, I guess he could come up with a way to take down the Island Navigator, but I think we're good.
No regrets, no mercy.
Oh, I didn't even realize we were going to flip here. I thought we needed an additional attack, so this is spectacular. Sure. So can we lethal this turn? This will take him to 17. We can get like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 plus 3. So we hit for 14. So we can't lethal here, but then we could open with a big Island Navigator hit. Sounds good to me. How much dead stuff have you seen? 13? Okay. So, what the? Oh man, not expect that. I don't think it changes our game plan here, but it's not expecting Shadow Fiend to come down. Playing this? This isn't a generated card. I'm not used to seeing him.
I mustn't stop. Time for violence.
But double check. Okay, the Fiend will take Vigio up to 17. Nope, don't block the Overwhelm. Block something else. Block something else. There you go. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to open with the Island Navigator. That's going to get the big love tap going right from the start. I guess it's bullet time on, on the flip side. And then we should be in a pretty good space to just do stuff after this attack. Okay. Got him. Right. We get the Taliyah. No, we get Akshan Sivir now. It's a little tougher. Well, I was thinking mainly in terms of playing against the stuns deck from Yasuo with the Taliyah Ziggs and having to like build up to a big turn to where we absolver a Ziggs or something and them just easily having stuns. I guess that's a lot tougher to pull off with Sivir, right? If Sivir has Spell Shield, then they're going to need 2 stuns. They typically have the means to come in and target her a bunch, but I think it's kind of interesting that the Taliyah Ziggs was the one to catch the ban. Alright, but let's hang on to Akshan and look for some other cheap stuff. I'm not a huge fan of hanging on to those combat tricks right at the beginning of the game. Oh, I want some dudes to put on the board.
I don't need rules to know good from bad.
I don't need rules. I'm too cool for school. that's what Akshan sounds like. So let's go ahead and get our attack in. It's pretty easy for him to play a 3-3 for 3 here. If he drops a Kamaveran Soldier, it basically shuts down the entirety of our attack. So let's go ahead and just get this 2 points of damage in while we can. And we can start to look to Merciless Hunter on the follow-up turn or something. Not really looking to drop Sivir this early, but I'm not opposed to it. He should have some trouble dealing with her.
There is still time to surrender. Just say, oh,
Boom. Add the soldier. Rip Akshan. It's okay. He's already done quite a bit of work.
Patrol 1, Patrol 2, Patrol 3.
Alright, well, I'm not excited about adding Sivir here, but that's kind of like what makes our mana work good, is if we play Sivir. I guess this still works out with the Merciless Hunter, though. If we're going to say, put the hook onto the soldier, put the 3/3 in front of the 2/2, the 4/2 in front of the 1/1, take the 3 from the soldier. If this gets Twin Disciplined, it's okay. And then we can be ready with the Sivir Quick Attack Challenge next turn. Let's hold back on the draw. I'm kind of interested in the single combat and the Absolver. So let's save that mana just a little bit. This is one of these odd spots to where it's like I want to give him some time to put stuff on the board. The Scourge isn't super ideal, but we can still attack around it. I mean, we might have another Death Mark or something here. That would be kind of meh.
Danger pays.
Okay, and this is not an exciting takedown in the Encroaching Mist, but there's not tons of units in their deck that the bird can take down. I think this is fine. Where this is kind of mez if he has the second Death Mark. I don't really want to have to single combat the unit away. This is fine. It's going to get spell shielded. Oh, it still removes it from the Scourge? Fuck, that must be nice. Who makes up those rules? It's supposed to counter all of the spell. Okay. It's got 3 mana behind. It's not super important to get the Radiant going this turn, but what else are we going to do?
We're not taking it. We're taking it back.
Alright, well, we can draw a card, I guess. Like, what are the chances that we can single combat the Sivir into Vigio? Right, that's the big thing here. I think it's pretty reasonable. You need to just get him off the board. Like, I don't want to get super invested in this and have to, like, start dropping Absolvers, but this is fine. Draw me one of them cards. Do it, please. Push the thing. What are you doing, game? I can't target that. Oh my gosh, is it just going to pass the turn? Awesome. Well done, Riot. I'm glad this card's just going to sit in the middle of the fucking board the whole game. Great job. Great job, Riot.
Wipe it off.
That doesn't look good. Let's drop the Preservarium. Bruiser looks a little better. How much has he seen? 7? Okay. We'll see 14. It's not bad. I knew this was going to be a problem. Once we pulled the spell back and replayed it and it still had the pass button up there, I knew that was going to be a problem, but I just thought it was going to come in and fix itself. Oh, sweet. This is even cooler, right? You can't even see what the left one is without right-clicking on it. Good job, Riot. Good job. Pick up the quick attack here. It's just like actively moving around the screen. Oh, this is so dumb. I'll have to restart the game. Well, it should fix itself once this game's over, right? I can't imagine this just sits here forever. Would have been pretty cool to have a predict draw on this board, though. Again, not gonna lie, it would have been pretty sweet. This Vigio is going to be out of hand, though, now. Akshan makes an appearance. Okay. The Merciless Hunter. This is one of these awkward spaces to where we'll have to play like Akshan post-combat, or we'll lose out on the... I think, well, we can't just play Akshan now and then try and hook the Vigio with... hook the Vigio with the Broadwing, but our removal spells don't work with the... Close to flipping is he at 6? And then the encroaching mists are like 5/5s. He's gonna flip this turn if we attack, but I guess the question comes down to we can make him have to have a combat trick or something, right? I think that sounds reasonable. He's only got 2 cards in hand, so let's like replace this dude. We'll put the hook onto Vigio. Now we can hook Vigio with Akshan and get a 9 attack quick attack challenge. That's our way to do this, right?
That's right. Run!
So now even if he kills a unit, we can get the kill onto Vigio. Oof, choice. Vigio 2. That's fine. Having the new one's fine. The big one was the other one was about to flip, right? He was at like 17 power or something. Now that this one's down to tiny power, that's a pretty sweet deal. Get this Radiant going this turn as well. Oh, deny. Okay. So he's completely out of cards. We don't have to worry about all of this. And so can we get ourselves to a lethal next turn, right? Let's say we just take the 10, go to 2. Then we play the Radiant. Then we have 4, 8. Well, this would be... Yeah, this is lethal. So we can fall to 2. So he's going to have to top deck an Atrocity like this, right? We'll play the Radiant. This Dum-Dum and Cursed Keeper can't block. The Vigio is the only blocker we should get in for enough damage. Unless he drew an Atrocity, right? That's the kicker here. Nice. Okay. Stupid ass game. Hey intern, take the video up the chain. Tell him to fix that stuff. All right, the people, the constructed folks probably don't know about the intern. That's the guy at Riot that I don't expect the lead devs and the head devs to make such gruesome mistakes to the card pools of Expedition. And so, since it was going away anyways, I like to say that they just passed all of the Expedition related duties onto the intern, right? You hired that new guy fresh out of college. He designed that one game that one time for the project he had as a junior, and now he's got his big boy job at Riot, maintaining Expedition, and that's the guy that was making the mistakes and doing the weird stuff. It was the intern, and he was the one. The storied devs wouldn't do that. They all knew better, and so. Okay, anyways, what do we have going on here? I'm more than happy to play against this Leona Victor deck. I don't know what it's trying to do, but that's fine. I would imagine... is this Bandle Tree? I haven't played against Bandletree in so long that I'm not super sure that's what like Gnar, Ken, and Poppy is with Noxus, right? You play Noxus for the spider that gives 2 ticks on the Bandletree. That's like supposed to be good matchups for a lot of these decks. I just literally have played it maybe like one time in the past 100 games. And then Caitlyn Teemo, probably not super ideal. I think that's the one that we're going to ban, and then just assume that this one here in the middle is Bandletree. So let's take the Caitlyn deck out of the mix. They ban scouts, that's fine. And we'll start with Taliyah Ziggs. I think this is Bandletree. Okay, so we did get one of these starts with the Naturalist. I think we just keep all of this. Well, I want to keep the 3 to the right. If we're playing the Ancient Preparations on the first turn, then it gets a little bit awkward with the Unraveled Earth. So I think we're okay to just go and get rid of it. Another Ancient Prep. Okay. I was going to say, the awkward space you get into with these Ancient Preparations is that if you want to play the Naturalist on 4, then the Preparations falls away on the 3rd turn, so you don't get the opportunity to do it. But now with the 2nd one, we can either play another one on turn 2 and hit it with the Naturalist, or we can ideally be using our Endless Devout. But I think this is okay. Do we want Ancient Preparations? I kind of want the units. I don't think we're going to be like falling too far behind on board, but I think this feels a little better than playing Preservarium. List Devout, sure. I got my timing off on these. These landmarks will be gone by turn 4, but it's okay. We're looking to get these Endless Devouts going. It's like we're not going to be able to do it, but it's not a huge deal. All the Endless Devouts. This is a little worrisome. I don't think it's that bad. The downside here is, like, I don't want these 2/2s on the board anymore. I would have... it's kind of tempting just to attack with them as the board kind of gets filled up and we want to use the Desert Naturalist. I would like to just kind of get rid of these things, but good addition in the minefield.
Sunlight guide you, my brethren. Another day, another explosion.
Okay. Fallen so low. So much damage that comes in through these. He's going to burn us out from this point. All right. Okay. He's definitely on the, yeah, I'm just going to burn him out plan. This is a little scary. Giving up on his ignitions at this point as well. Oh. So if he's just going to like go tall with stuff, this isn't that bad.
If it's made of sand, I can ride it.
I'm trying to like line up this turn though to where we get to play the Hexplosive Minefield on Ravun and then follow up with another with the Landmark Destruction and the Naturalist. This will be The sarcophagus is going to be a turn off. I was like, ooh, this is going to be kind of nice coming out here and copying the sarcophagus, but that's going to be a little slow. Do we want to copy it anyways? Because we probably want to be playing the Rite of the Arcane this turn. I think that's okay. So we'll at least have one of these, and then there's a non-zero chance that we just overwrite one of them next turn. Okay, destroy a landmark, board away unit. Not amped about this dude having elusives. So we can deal with this Ravoon forever. It's the elusives here that are kind of scary. Okay. It might have been a little early on the Rockhopper. Can we just take this 5? Like, where does this get next turn? I'm still not like 100% sure I played these minefields right. If we say play the minefield, overwrite the sarcophagus, play the naturalist, overwrite the sarcophagus, then blow up the minefield, I think that gets us to having units. Oh, these are can just destroy these. Okay. It's that space though. If we destroy it with the naturalist, then we won't get the 5/4 out of it. Any landmarks we want from Taliyah? I don't think so. But right, if we play the naturalist on the sarcophagus, the naturalist will come on the board. The sarcophagus will get destroyed. We'll get one of those units, and the other one will just go away. Do we ultimately like have to worry about him burning us out? We might be safe enough. Just feels like this isn't enough of an attack this turn.
And I thought there was something good to see.
Like, what if, like, the thing I'm kind of, like, leaning towards now is, like, let's see what he plays. Ooh, Sunhawk. Okay. That's a bit unfortunate. All right.
Watch me. I go. Turn the stones.
All right, so they're down to 6. Again, like, I don't know. I'm not like super familiar with what we're about to run into. It seems, I mean, he's just doing like invoke stuff now, and so I feel pretty okay against that, especially now that we still have the minefield. But I wish I knew a little bit better what this guy was trying to do. That's a scary one. Do we ever want to play the Taliyah here? Just to see what we hit. This game's going to end next turn. Targon's Peak. This is the one we're looking for. And I'm summon a Forge Worker. Okay, I just want the Preservarian. That's at least decent cycle. I mean, it's expensive cycle, but could get the job done. So now, on this upcoming turn, how much do we have to worry about stuns? It's probably a lot, right? And so, if we come in and attack with everything, he can put his big Ravoon in front of Taliyah, and then block our next 3 biggest. We only get in for 3. That's not going to work. We're just going to have to kind of brave the stuns here. So let's pass. We're going to Hexplosive Minefield, play another unit. and see if that gets us far enough along. Ooh, the arsenal. That's a way to get far enough along. Okay, Sunhawk will thankfully hit one of these 5 attackers. Minefield number 2.
Unyielding light.
And the arsenal. Probably got a bunch of cool stuff, didn't you? That's gonna stun the arsenal, isn't it? This game's stupid. This game is stupid. So our attacks are no longer good. Okay, well. Let's see if he's got something to end it here. He's gonna need another morning light to really punch through. Oh, yep, we're dead to the submersible now. F. I don't know. That feels like when we should have won, but it's just like we were a touch short on the damage, but I'm not sure where we would have picked it up in the appropriate place. All right, well, let's switch to Akshan Sivir. I think this is the Bandle tree, and I'm not exactly sure what the Bandle tree matchups look like. I feel like it's not horrible. Let me see. I got the thing pulled up. Bandle tree. It lists it as a 36% win rate against scouts. That's not what we're playing though. Where is Taliyah Ziggs? It puts it at a negative matchup at 42% win, and then Akshan Sivir it listed at 43%. And so if it is the Bandle tree, we should be in decent shape. Not a matchup I'm like amped to be playing against. I think it's I don't think it's a particularly healthy deck, but see what we can do. I was looking for our cheap plays. We didn't find anything. It's a little unfortunate. Any of our 1-drops, any of our 2-drops would have been particularly choice, but didn't do it. Yeah, this is most certainly the Bandle tree. Yeah, I'm a little worried now with how our start started. But we should have fairly free reign to just get the Sivir going. With her especially being able to like come down and attack here, and then Cataclysm, something helps her chunk up in damage very quickly. Have the Vicar and Bruiser to potentially give her an Overwhelm fragment as well. Okay, but I didn't block the Bomber Twins. The damage from Bandle Tree should just never matter, right? They're not going to actually kill us with units. But we did have the Sivir coming up, and so I wanted to save the unit to actually give her some bonus stats. At 8. You need to be flipped, Sivir. You need to be flipped. Okay, I was hoping to get the Cataclysm off of the Bruiser, so that we could get that card in hand. But this is just too important to get Gnar down now. So I think that's okay. We're still fairly far away from this Sivir flip. Rip Spell Shield. It's a little unfortunate. Do we want the Bright Steel? Probably not. Let's get the Vagabond down. We'll get the Merciless Hunter down. Just spend all of our mana on as much board as we can. Then if we need to like pick and choose an attack for Sivir, we can, put her in front of a 1-attack unit if he has one or something. So where are we at? I was like, not like interested in adding the Bright Steel Protector this turn just because it doesn't combat well with our opponent's units. But if we lose our Sivir, then we're like really in trouble. I think we'll just go with the Bright Steel.
My field is yours.
And we can't get her to flip this turn. We need 17 damage, we'll be one short. But we can single combat something next turn to get Sivir to flip.
Business as usual. It's a living.
Okay.
Let me see your technique.
Something coming at us. Group shot. Okay. Alright, we get something real choice with this lucky find. Let's see how lucky we get. I believe in you, Sivir. Spell Shield. Okay. Okay. Let's do the Relic of Power right this time. There's an action. He should help us just to get like tons of units on the board. Like the big thing next turn is we have to be playing the single combat so that we can flip our Sivir pre-combat, right? I want her ready to go. As it stands, we can use the Bruiser onto like the Vandal City Mayor. I think I just want the action. He's so cheap, but like I don't think the Warlord's Horde's ever going to matter this game. I kind of want the Shaped Stone just for like a little bit of protection here. I think that's okay. Well, Ravenous Flock messes with that plan a little bit, but I think that was a pretty good idea. No ways to get the Overwhelms now, though, is kind of sad.
We made it. Yay.
But our stuff did it.
Are we going to be a turn too slow now? Damn.
Talk is worthless. We are what we do. I do not break rules.
Alright, well here's the action. We're still looking to get 2 more units on the board this turn, so we'll get the Fleet Feather and the Merciless Hunter down. Definitely have a big open next turn. But, really wanted a positive single combat so we could shoot for an Overwhelm. Opponent's thinking of something clever to do. Probably don't approve of it. The Trickster, sure.
Gonna find a gift for Renekton, right, Arda?
Okay, so we should be safe on our attack to have like Sivir go first. I guess we could. Yes, action's not going to flip here, so we'll do it with like Sivir, action, other cards. You're the smallest one. Do something like this. Gets him to 8. Yeah, it's brutal. Alright. I don't think we can do enough here.
Go away.
Alright, well there's the Sivir flip.
For more.
No idea how close he is to the Vandal Tree, but it's got to be really close at this point.
Look, a thing.
Elf, that's not ours.
Man, I didn't want to be losing our ricochets. That's how we're going to come in and chunk for the damage. All right, there's the Absolver. A day late and a dollar short, but if we can make it to our next attack, that's how we'll end the game. Ooh, the Aegis, huh? Okay, okay. I think we should be able to end it this turn now. Group shots our Sivir. Is she gonna get mini morphed? Oh no. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Well, at least he can't Bandle Tree us this turn. So we're going to get the rally. We do have like the combo in hand. But I want to draw the Warlord's Horde before we get into this combat. And so is there one of these that would be better? Right? We can't do the Spell Shield, but I don't think we want to grant enemies vulnerable. Probably just want to draw 2 cards, cost 1 less this round. So let's put the front Absolver on our smallest unit. Let's put Sharp Sight. Ooh. So we can Sharp Sight, but this will still work out. We'll Sharp Sight our next smallest one. We draw the card. We get to do the draw 2. Your cards cost 1 less. Now we can still add in the Broadwing and such. Ooh, a grappling hook. That's expensive. I'd rather play 3 cards. Ravenous Flock onto Akshan. Unfortunate, but we can't protect him.
Scores to settle, cooks to kill. You know how it is.
Where does that get us? Takes him to 2. Okay. Now we can try and get the open kill next turn. We lose that on this Absolver. That's kind of whatever. We can still cast it before the turn ends to take a tick down on the Warlord's Horde, but not a big deal. What up, Sivir? Ready to party? All right, GG. Whew, those games are so stressful. It's like we've done so much work to get such a powerful board, but it's all meaningless, right? They just throw stuff down in front and like herder. I played these random cards and win the game. All right. The final battle is upon us. Taliyah Ziggs versus the Bandle Tree. Important thing to note with this one is you can use your Desert Naturalist to blow up your opponent's Bandle Tree. And so we'll have to keep that in mind if we want to balance just holding on to it forever to potentially get our opponent's unit, or how we want to go about it. And this is like a fairly tempting Absolver to keep. Like, that's like such a good way for our deck to be able to just end the game. But I think it's probably a little bit too slow here. It's like in that last game, that was like the most critical card for us to be drawing was the Absolver. And for us to not have it here, it's a little dangerous, but at least fixed our curve up. Okay, so let's just go with the Endless Devout. Just gotta get dudes on board on curve. See if we can't wear them down. What up, Kenan?
They've never seen a contraption like this before.
Okay, and I want to get the Endless Devout down now. I would love to be able to trade the Endless Devout for whatever they play and just get these Sarcophagus going. May not get the chance, but I think this is a little bit stronger than a Ziggs here. We technically, could miss out on this point of damage from the bomb hitting, but I really want this Endless Devout dead. So, see if we can't get it here. He may even do it for us, you never know. He might just do it. Thinking up the best possible unit to play. I hear you, my dude. I think the only thing that kind of like worries me about this board is like if he plays Gnar next turn. I guess it's not even that bad, but it's a bit of a worry. So he's just like 100% losing the Bandle City Mayor. I think if the turn ends with the empty board except our Sarcophagus, that's pretty good. I have to assume that Kennon's going in front of the Rockhopper like 100% of the time. Yeah, we got what we wanted. Okay. There's the big game ender. Won't get to play him until... Well, we can actually play the Arsenal on turn 8, but... Who do we go with now? I'm just going to assume he's probably doesn't have another play. We're 100% going to play this guy, right? We can start with the Inventive Chemist. I think we probably want to get Ziggs down now, but we'll have to see if he plays a 3-attack unit. Right, he could perhaps drop a... Bomber Twins or something here. I don't think I find ourselves just like opening next turn though. Let's add the Endless Devout. We can technically Unleashed Energy, something. Ooh, just picked up Taliyah. We could Unleashed Energy something to try and get our Sarcophagus on board, but Taliyah just makes that not necessary. He's all flipped. She's copied our good cards. Ready to go. Poro Sled. Well, it's not enough to block Taliyah. Well, it can block Taliyah, but it won't kill her back. Oh, we can get so many of these Sarcophagus now with this Unleashed Energy. We can pretty realistically get the other one on the board. Look at all them big boys. Says, I don't care about you, Bandle City Mayor. You can't block any of us. The downside with this is I want to get Ziggs on board. But, like, does our opponent ever attack here? He kind of wants to attack with the Poro Sled, but I feel like if we just pass, he's not going to do anything. We kind of, like, if Ziggs isn't on the board at the start of next turn, we lose out on 2 damage. Let's see. I guess if he sends it back to us, it's not the end of the world. Right? This attack with the Poro Sled is not good. It's just good in terms of him getting a roll for the Bandle tree. Okay. I don't know. I don't think he attacks here. I feel like we're going to miss out on a couple points of damage, but the flip side of this is we do get to keep our okay. I was gonna say like the flip side is we do get to keep our 2-1 on board, and then that's a potential target for these combat tricks.
What does that thing do? It explodes, of course. Go ahead, light the fuse.
So much health now. Ziggs number 2, but he can't take down 2 units, and so we can't get another unit on board. Does he have that can block? I guess that is like a real concern for him, and that the only thing that can block our 5/3 is the Poro Sled. Man, maybe that would have been reason enough to keep the other one around. We can add the Sarcophagus to the board now. Okay, so he should be putting like the 2/3 in front of Taliyah. She's going to deal 2 damage. He should be putting another anything in front of Ziggs. That should be 2 damage. As it stands, we should be lethal at this point. Like our only additional way to punch through here is like putting a Shapestone onto the Restored Devout. But we are presenting a lethal attack here. Right, should show him at neg 2 now. He moves one of the Vandal City Mayors in front of the Chemist. That's fine. Maybe he has to spend a mini more for something this turn. I don't know, but... And a Pokey Stick. So we're getting in for 5. He still gets to have a Vandal City Mayor in the back. I think I want to do this Shaped Stone. The reason being is if we get a landmark that we can destroy, then that'll lethal him with the Ziggs. Not feeling good about this. This feels like a loser. 1 short. Can you go face with this bouncing bomb? Deal 2 to a unit. Let me see. It's not 2 enemies, huh? All right. I was pretty sure I couldn't target the Nexus, but boy, was that a bad place to be wrong. Oh, we got our answer to the Bandle Tree. We can get around that. All right, he can still have one. Let's wait. I don't want him like attacking with Gnar and then playing the Bandle Tree after the fact. Okay, now we're safe. Elusive Scout, lifesteal. That's what life's all about right there. Nice. Whew. Such a scary deck to play against. Not excited about that matchup whatsoever. That could be like an 80-20 matchup in our favor, and I still wouldn't want to play it. It's glad we got the victory though. So okay, that's it. That's 4 in a row with the Prime Glories, right? And so we've been doing this this strategy for 4 weeks now, playing Scouts, playing Akshan Sivir. 1 week we swapped out the Taliyah Ziggs for something else. I don't know. I just didn't like it as much. I don't remember what it was. But we've been pretty happy with this lineup. And so to kind of recap on the idea, we didn't play against Pantheon today, but the idea is just to ban out Pantheon. All of our matchups against Pantheon are terrible. And so we don't want to play that. And then all of our decks have good matchups against Darkness. We didn't see Darkness today either, but that's the deck we're looking to kind of beat up on. We still have positive matchups against, say, like Trundle Gnar or Concurrent Timelines Gnar, whatever you want to call that. And then we can kind of look at some of these matchups as being fairly similar to that. And so basically whenever we play against Shadow Isles, we should be feeling pretty decent, unless it's kind of like the meme decks that just play hundreds of drain spells. Those tend to be kind of a pain. And so, since we already expect to be good against those matchups, we come in and cheapen up our curve and have some more early game focus to help us with the other more aggressively styled matchups. And it's worked just fine for us, right? I don't know what the Gauntlet wins get for you. I think it's buys in something. I don't know. We're in Masters now. I don't know what, like, to get into seasonals, I don't know what Masters rank you have to have or if we have to use these Gauntlet things for anything. I guess I'll have to look at it at some point, but we've maximized our prime glory numbers here. Didn't get the 8-0 this time, had to do an 8-1, but still feels pretty good nonetheless. And so that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the Gauntlet. You learned how to get the primest of glories, maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.